Last few years has been the workplace. In many cases, the pale old brigade sidelined, a new look to the pecking order and affirmative action debated from every angle.
En natuurlijk het bestuur alle moontlike samebindende kragte probeer inspan, van inspirerende praatjies tot tradisionele bosberade. Maar 'n plaaslike mynmaatskappy het gevind die beste plek om mense se instellings te verander is hoog in die lug.
This is one of the most modern mines in the country. In fact, this shaft has only been here for about a year, and every possible safety precaution has been built into it. Yet there are distinct dangers. For example, a miner might not detect what is called bad hanging wall up here and fail to avert a rockfall. He might get in the way in the truck and tramways and literally get squashed. Or he might mishandle explosives or leave a colleague in the wrong place at the wrong time. Basically, down here, teamwork is essential and does save lives.
And this is what is happening here. It might look like a training program for budding tightrope walkers, but it's not. These men are actually a team of miners who, strange as it seems, are acquiring skills and attitudes high up in the air, which is so crucial for their well-being and safety far below the surface. They're learning things 18 meters above the ground, which are essential for their performance as a team in the dangerous bowels of the earth. One of these men is Neo Kotu. He grew up in Rustenburg in the shadows of the many platinum mines in the northwest province. And even as a child, he was determined never to become a miner himself. He showed real promise, and after school he furthered his studies and obtained an education diploma. He thought he'd escaped mining, but then he couldn't find work as a teacher. Eventually, circumstances forced him into mining.
I was afraid and worried, so in the new South Africa we don't have a choice. If you got the job, just go for it, you see. So I was scared.
But Neo's trepidation soon turned to surprise because the Bafokeng Rasimone Mine is unique among mines in South Africa. Here mining has been redesigned around the workforce to create a more humane environment, as General Manager Chris Griffiths explains.
We recruit only people that are literate. We have a look at the funding law, the language we have always used in the mine, and it's a very a direct instructional type of communication method, and very little feeling can ever go into talking to people.
Therefore, the principal language of communication at the mine is English.
So the ability to be able to speak to people, the ability to be able to make it personal when you talk to people is greatly enhanced.
There are also no hostels with their usual social problems. This means that Neo and others at the mine continue to live with their families at home.
We also decided to have small multi-skilled work teams, which is totally different. Our teams are now 8 strong, where they used to be 120 strong.
So the lifeblood of this mine is the concept of small teams. It's hardly surprising that apart from the normal mine training, the mine would also explore innovative ways of developing these small teams. They soon discovered the Team Building Institute in Pretoria, which was the first to introduce the concept of high rope courses as team building instruments in South Africa. Chris Eunice explains the philosophy behind this novel approach.
It's a different experience. It's not usual. And the fact that it's so unusual, it actually creates new experiences, and that's where the value of team building lies, because those shared new experiences changes the whole idea of how we can operate, and it creates a new culture within the team.
So instead of standing in front of a classroom, Neo found himself as part of a mine team about to undergo a rather scary training course. The team he was assigned to was called the Crazy Stopers.
Crazy Stopers.
Initially, Chris and his facilitators led Neo and the others through a series of fun exercises, each carefully designed to create a sense of belonging and to break down personal barriers.
We build up the breakdown of the personal barriers. This private space that we all have is now broken down by physically making contact with one another. And people have contact with different individuals all along. So they change from partner to partner to break down those barriers.
They may be breaking down barriers, but so far this has the feeling of a Clifton Beach fun day. Yet behind the sandpit and the laughter lies the high ropes course, or as Chris calls it, the island of healing. And this is where the mood may change.
The mood indeed changed as the day progressed, and as the exercises got more complex and started to focus on common values. One of the values the crazy stopers as a whole thought especially important in a mining environment, according to Neo, is trust.
We want to learn about commitment and trust. You see, cooperation. You see, those especially trust, because there is no safe area underground, to be honest with you. So I have to watch out for you, and you have to watch out for me.
We all learned a lesson in trust that day.
You can see this was now one of the climaxes that we've built trust up to doing the trust fall. And I think catching you was a powerful experience for this team, because that showed to them that they can work together as a team.
From the relatively low trust pole, the crazy stopers literally scaled new heights to give tangible new meanings to the values of cooperation, focus and trust. Each one of the activities they do up in the air becomes a metaphor or symbol for them of a value they consider crucial for their work. For example, walking the beam began to symbolize the value of staying focused.
There's an expression that if you want to make people see things differently, take them to a place that they've never been before. Now, being miners, they've certainly never been here before. And Chris claims that their work underground will improve as a result of this aerial experience.
The impact of the experience is so powerful because of the element of risk, or rather of perceived risk, because there's no real danger. But the height above ground, the stress and the tension is so intense that learning is actually accelerated. And if reinforced enough, a value like helping each other becomes part of their everyday behavior.
The link is made here between doing something up here in the air and applying the same principles on the ground.
Well, climbing up poles and walking across cables is one thing, but the real test of the success of this team-building course won't be found up here in the air, 18 meters above the ground. It's to be found here, about 80 meters underground, in the dark and sometimes dangerous environment of a platinum mine. It's here at the stope, at the rock face, where the ore is extracted and where this training is meant to make a difference.
To see for ourselves if the aerial training really made a difference for Neo and his fellow crazy stopers, we decided to track them down a few days later. In order to find them, we had to journey to the depths of the mine, not in the usual lift cage, but on a conveyor belt suspended from the ceiling of a tunnel. Deep underground, we found the crazy stopers in a spot they call their waiting place, where they gather before each shift.
Hey, how's the team? Hey, how are you doing? You well, sure?
Here they connect with each other and discuss their plans and targets for the day.
I imagined a lounge with a few chairs and a bar fridge.
Glenn Harris, the shaft manager, explains the relevance of the waiting place.
And I see all the lessons from the course here.
Yeah, they've come in and put it up so that they can look at it every morning. That's what they want to do here. Look at that and remind themselves of the lessons learned at the high ropes.
We also asked Neo if he detected changes in the team.
Commitment was never like this before. We had commitment, but it was very low, you see. So now we have improved our commitments. You can see now everybody is willing to go. Everyone is talking of the things that we practice there at the Team Building Institute. So I think we benefited a lot.
But in all mining operations, productivity remains the bottom line.
Glenn, can you really see an improvement in productivity because of a course like this?
What we've seen is that the teams that have gone through that, and being new people to mining, they've never done mining before, have got an absolutely increased learning curve. And what we've seen is that productivity has increased over the next 4 months, where it would usually take people 6 or 7 months to do that.
Everybody at BRPM is currently very enthusiastic about the course, and they're not alone in this. Chris and his company have been busy training teams at other mines as well, and have built a number of high ropes courses at various gold mines in the Free State, like the Bambanani mine. So will the sweat and effort of the high ropes course really bring about long-term change down under? Only time will tell. But for now, Neo and the crazy Stopers say yes, the fear up on the high wire has moulded them as a team.
I don't think you ever overcome fear. It's always there. It's how you manage fear. That's what is so important.